while, but again, he's a guy that can be a threat on these kinds of tracks, and a guy that, is potentially knocking on the door, just hasn't necessarily had it work out just yet.
Yeah, it's just been kind of a case of trying to be patient. The luck hasn't really been there, but he's been able to get some solid finishes. And then now I can say Reggie Kime, he got I believe it was a top 10 at Daytona. So you can only imagine that hopefully he can come into Talladega and get another solid SuperSpeedway finish. He's been known to get some good underdog finishes, some unexpected finishes, especially on the bigger tracks. So hopefully it'll work out for him. He is in the playoff picture right now as one of the underdog drivers. I think he might be around the top 10-ish. I might be wrong. He's somewhere in that 10th area.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, it looks like we are set to go here now. Jameson leads them off the line, and we are underway for tonight's Crack Device Company 250. And it looks like Jameson's gotten a good start. It looks like Mattiello's gotten a good start here too. He's jumped up into second. And that's Jacob Nelson there in third. And sounds like we may have had something go on in the back of the pack from what I'm hearing. Sounds like maybe Jason Butler got caught up in something. Maybe Travis Tyson as well. At least that's what I'm hearing from the Discord side of things, as it looks like relatively single file minus the 3 wide at the very back.
Well, yes, all the cars have gone into a bit of a single file train so far. I mean, it's only stage 1, kind of just ride along the laps, just get the laps over with, get to the end as quickly as possible. And from what I'm looking at the stream here, because again, the lumberjack quality from the software, whatever that we're kind of using to communicate with each other, it's just a lumberjack quality. So from what I can see with the stream, it looks like everything's going smooth so far with everyone. Leo Jameson leading the way with Dan Mattiello and Jacob Nelson both getting very solid starts here to start off the regular season finale. So good stuff from them. And yeah, things are just running smoothly. It looks like pretty much every single car is just in that pack going at it.
It looks like Mike Nickens is kind of lost out here early on, though, as it looks like he's dropped down to about 7th or 8th here in the early going, tucked in behind the 77 of Reggie Kime. Jose Mercado looking for a move there as well. But Jameson continues to lead. Mattiello there in second. And I think that's Nelson in third. As a matter of fact, we'll bring it back to Mattiello here on the screen. Again, running P2, which, again, great start for him here tonight. That's Nelson third. Not sure who we've got in fourth. That looks like... It's hard to see the white on white there sometimes. I can't imagine it being any better on your side.
That would be the 12 of Mike Marini.
Okay, so nice spotting there. And 5th place, is that still Trent Nielsen up there? He did qualify in 6th, and he is known to be, decent on the super speedways. The other results maybe aren't always there necessarily, but certainly, Nielsen, whenever he gets to Talladega, it seems like a switch flips for the 55 as we try to get a sense of where everybody is. We're watching Reggie Kime here now coming down the back straight. Everybody pretty well in that single file. Kime currently tucked in behind John Peden. He's got Mike Nickens all over the back of him. So Kime, the 77, running in 7th place. So maybe not a huge surprise there, although Nickens might be having a look on the outside, but ultimately decides to tuck into that early draft. As we'll go now to Jacob Nelson running in 3rd place. And it looks like we do have just a minor bit of separation. And yeah, definitely getting word of a little bit of a stacking situation toward the back of this lead pack. And we've got kind of a solo runner there on the middle groove here. I'm not sure if that's Nickens again trying to look for something on the outside or what's going on. I think that was the Black Intimidator scheme. I mean, the throwbacks were a week ago, but still nice to see that signature scheme still.
Well, yes, there's a couple of guys that we've seen in some of the chats and stuff commenting about using Dale schemes and even joking around about like trying to drive like Dale Earnhardt. I mean, yeah, especially it's the regular season finale at Talladega, so I mean, what do you expect? People want to intimidate everyone else and get their way to a win or playoff spot or whatever it may be. And
Indeed.
yeah, you were saying there that there does appear to be a separation. Looks to be about maybe 2 packs or so there. I mean, yeah, if you try to get like all those cars packed together in that one train, then like if you're expecting that, then like there's no way in hell that's gonna stay alive for long. Because trust
No.
me, with these game physics, it's definitely not gonna happen. And yeah, I guess we can confirm at this point. Yeah, that's not Trent Nielsen you were looking at there. It might have been Brandon Reed that it was in 5th place, because I do recognize those colors from him running before. Might be wrong. We might be wrong a second time.
Toward the back of the field, though, as someone I think dove a little bit too low in turn 2 and maybe came up and tapped Jason Butler. Not 100% sure who that was. Hearing again, it might have been Travis Tyson, but cannot confirm that. And as you mentioned, we're watching Trent Nielsen right now. Started in 6th. Looks like he's running around 10th place here right now, as he's tucked in behind Jose Mercado. And again, like the point that I made about Nielsen earlier, he's still, formidable on these super speedways where the drafts can really help out. But we'll see if that's able to progress over the course of the 94 laps this evening as we go to Mike Marini. Again, that all-white car. Thank you so much for pointing that out earlier. And he's 4th right now. And yeah, that might be Reed in 5th. That would be much needed for the 36 if it does, in fact, happen to be him. No, it's the 20 of Hunter Young, actually. So another guy who's in that playoff picture. Young running up in the top 5, and he had a decent run there. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, just to get himself kind of within striking distance here.
Okay, we can finally fix that mistake we were having there. That's actually Hunter Young in the Napa car right there. I'm kind of wondering there, maybe is that kind of a Michael Waltrip reference potentially? I might be wrong there, but that's immediately what I'm thinking of because it's Talladega. And out of that too, I was thinking earlier from what you said, this is 94 laps. It is 6 short of what Daytona was. Daytona was it 100, I believe? Am I correct saying that, or how many was Daytona again?
Talladega is just a little bit longer at 2.6 miles compared to the 2.5 of Daytona, so that's where that difference comes in.
And it's just barely a couple laps shorter, but at the same time, and on the big, I mean, considering Talladega is slightly bigger than Daytona, you may think that it almost could be the exact same distance in a sense. But yeah, 94 laps on a super speedway, like it's still a long distance. If you've ever watched a truck race at Daytona, then you could make it similar to that, other than literally the amount. Actually, that's probably a bad comparison because let's face it, all truck super speedway races are wreck fests anyway. So,
fair enough.
But yeah, again, it's 94 laps here. That's gonna it will fly by fast on one end, but on the other end, it probably also does feel like a bit of a long one. At the same time, though, that's the endurance that these drivers have to take on if they really want to earn themselves a shot into the playoffs, especially if you're like right on the cut line or below it.
Yeah, and the leaders, they're coming up on 18 laps remaining in this opening stage as they've just crossed the line. And we're with Marini here briefly, but we'll go toward the back of the field where the man on the playoff bubble, Kevin Daigle, he and Andy Hurdle actually somewhat conveniently riding together here. This is 16 and 17 in the overall standings, riding together, albeit toward the back of the pack. So certainly not the result they'd want so far. Daigle, I'm sure, wouldn't mind keeping Hurdle behind him, but obviously he's got others to worry about as well in the form of, Brandon Reed, Dan Cudmore, the aforementioned Dan Mattiello, who I believe is still running up toward the head of the field. So Daigle, he's got to kind of look out here tonight as he's the man on the bubble. And on that point, again, I mentioned during the pre-race that again, it was sort of interesting that he got to 16th. Again, remember, he missed the Daytona race to start this year. So he's gotten to 16th in 8 races as opposed to 9. So that tells you what Kevin Daigle's certainly capable of. Just, he might have a little bit more pressure here tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean it's only a 4-point difference with him in 16th there. So yeah, I can only imagine what he might be thinking and feeling right now. But I mean, from the looks of it, right now he's just staying cleanly in front of Andy Hurdle. Although I guess if you think about it, he's in front of a guy who is right in the next spot. He's the guy that's 4 points behind. So
Yes.
that's it's not even English that I'm trying to describe it with there. It's just
No, but I mean the quick summary there.
Okay, I thought I saw a car go high there. No, yeah, Darcy Ford kind of getting a bit lonely there in that middle lane. It looks like he might be backing out because it looks like there was a little bit of touching and just some close racing there.
Yeah,
around him.
If you listen in on the Discord side of things, there's absolutely some close racing happening here. There's a lot of some of the sounds that we've both made over the course of the evening here so far. There's been plenty of that. One guy who absolutely does not have to worry about any of that is the man we're watching right now, Jonathan Peden. Of course, 3 wins this year atop the standings, and he is, I'd say, right around 9th place right now. Oh, man, I wish I could repeat what I just heard in the Discord, but alas, I cannot. That'll be for NASCAR Heat After Dark, unfortunately.
What? Was it words that are not professional? I that's the way I'll ask it.
Well, I wouldn't say not professional, just maybe not the cleanest. Unlike some of the racing that we've seen here over the course of the evening. Yeah, I mean, for all, like, obviously there's been just the odd little bump here and there for the most part, but it seems like, as we look at the single file, seems like everyone's been fairly responsible over the course of this evening so far here, Reegs. Nothing really crazy to report so far.
I don't think I really want to say anything though. It's still pretty early. I mean, the thing is, pretty much every race where we've said something like that, there's always something that happens somewhere, even if we don't catch it. So
yeah,
we need to have some, like, the drivers need self-aware. People think the drivers need self-awareness tonight. We also need it as well with our words. So yeah. And I think I was seeing there as well. I noticed back there's a pack in the back even is going double file there. That's a bit of an oddity.
A little bit.
Oh yeah, there were 3 wide there. They were 3 wide for a second. I just saw that back here on the stream.
Indeed so, as we check in on Hunter Young here now, still running in 5th place here. So solid opening stage here from the number 20, managing to stay in line and not necessarily upset the balance, but certainly try to work his way in towards getting a little bit closer to a playoff spot. I thought we might have been getting into a bit of a pit window there, but sounds like we're still maybe a few laps away from that.
That's the other thing too, with how fast these cars are going together. Like, you can see how close they are, even when they're only going in a bit of a choo-choo line right now. But yeah, that's like I was saying earlier, self-awareness. Whenever there are only certain cars that may come down like, I'll say the first lap, for example, there are only some certain cars that may choose to come down on that first lap of the pit window. So these other guys have to be aware and communicate with each other on consistent levels, so that they make sure no one gets suddenly wrecked or bumped into, someone gets slowed down. Like, just in a nutshell, there isn't a big incident that happens and everyone is able to keep it clean. Everyone can pass. Those who are not pitting can pass by cleanly. So that's going to be quite the thing to keep an eye on whenever this window, I assume, begins soon.
Yeah, just got the word 11 laps remaining here in this stage. as we're watching Jose Mercado here now running in 7th place. Looks like John Peden's gotten out of the draft line, at least for now. Might just be, not sure if there was contact there or what was going on, but it looks like the 53 will settle back in a little bit further down the line as they come to 10 laps to go now in the stage. And it remains Leo Jameson at the head of the field, Dan Mattiello in second, Jacob Nelson, no, that wasn't Jacob Nelson, I should say. I think that is, no, that's Young up into third, Nelson fourth, Nickens into the top 5, Mercado actually running 6th, so that might be just a byproduct of John Peden just kind of falling down the field a little bit. And yeah, I'm hearing a lot of discussion here. It sounds like, there we go, pit lane is open.
They come.
And
Whoa.
yeah, the majority of the field goes in. Mercado, he's the lone man here. Looks like, well, looks like maybe a couple of cars went in a lap ahead. Mercado staying out, though.
Maybe some interesting strategies going on there. The thing is, the fuel is more the concern than tires, because on the SuperSpeedway, tires usually aren't the biggest factor, maybe in the tiniest form, but it's all about fuel in this when it comes to this kind of a race in a big track like this. But I also noticed there, whenever they're coming down, Hunter Young had quite the entrance there, although that might have been kind of a bit of that might have been kind of a game thing, but he came in there pretty sudden, and he was kind of wiggly there, but it appears that everyone's been...
we got a spinner here.
Okay, what
I
in
think
the
that
world?
might have been Marini that got turned around. He's like door-to-door here with Janikowski. John Peden giving a little bit of a push here as well. Everyone trying to get out of pit lane, basically. And I think that might be Bob Drew III giving an additional push.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, these guys are like glued together here.
Oh, they're good now. Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, we say that. And yeah, now we just check into Bob Drew III here once again. He's at the tail end of this quartet trying to push toward another group. Oh, man. Again, Regan,
are you doing okay?
What?
Are you doing okay?
Yeah. I was just going to say, you got to listen in on some of this Discord chat. I'm not lying here. It's actually... I'm trying not to crack up here on this end, basically.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how quote-unquote professionally illegal would it be to actually display it for the audience?
Oh, I mean, like... I don't know if it would be series ender necessarily, but, you know, it's all good fun. And a guy who's having plenty of fun here tonight is Leo Jameson, as we bring it back to what I would presume to be the head of the field. That was certainly the head of the field whenever the first round of pit stops came and went. As it looks like it's Jameson, Mattiello, Ty Higginbotham somehow made his way in there. That's not a surprise. And then Jacob Nelson rounds out that group of 4. And then I think that other group of 4 we were talking about earlier with Janikowski, Peden, Bob Drew, and Marini. And suddenly that's a big group of 8. And it looks like all 8 of them are pretty well together. Double file coming through the turn. 6
They're
laps
coming up high. They're coming up pretty damn fast right there. Holy moly.
They sure are. And again, we remain with, what we presume to be the lead pack. We haven't heard an official update from our race control.
Yeah, as I was expecting there, that outside line broke up almost immediately. It didn't even take a full lap to do that. It's just regular train here, but maybe it does kind of spice back up within a couple laps. Maybe you go back to what you were saying there.
I was just going to say this is, in fact, the lead pack of 8 here, as I did get confirmation from Ty Higginbotham, excuse me, himself, that he is the man in third place right now. So Jameson is your leader. Dan Mattiello there in second. Higginbotham in third. Fourth was Jacob Nelson. I think John Peden rounds at the top 5 right now. And, a little bit of contact there in the back of that lead pack. I think Marini may have gotten a wheel touched up with Bob Drew. But it looks like Marini's just going to hang on to that lead pack of 7. And Jameson, he's effectively led this wire to wire here so far.
It seemed Dan Mattiello has been quite the wiggly driver there in second place. And I don't know whether to say or not. I've been surprised that he's been able to keep it straight, but he's trying to wheel the thing for sure.
Yeah, was definitely hearing maybe a little bit of lag from that lead pack somewhere, and yeah, sure enough, there it is.
Whoa.
That was a massive lag, and it went right into the back of Higginbotham, as I could hear his reaction actually within the Discord. But I think that's just a connection thing, could be just a game thing. And yeah, so Jameson remains the leader in all this. Mattiello is still there in second. Higginbotham third. Nelson fourth.
Do we have any word on how many laps remain?
I'll probably hear it here the next time around. I'd say we're coming up on 5 to go in the stage. And it looks like Higginbotham
maneuvers.
Move here.
Here comes Mattiello to the inside.
Yeah, that may have just kind of opened up with Higginbotham going high. Higginbotham trying to push Jameson forward. Looked like it kind of went 3 wide there for a second. But Mattiello's getting a push from, I think that's Bob Drew on the inside. It is.
This could be very valuable. This could be very valuable for Mattiello to get the stage victory here, to be able to get enough points here to possibly go for it at the end and be able to get himself into the playoffs. So again, though, it's
he has pushed up into the lead here, though. So Dan Mattiello is your race leader right now. Bob Drew the third and second. I think that's Marini on the inside line. Then it looks like Jameson's pushed up into fourth.
That is, in fact, Marini there, the third car on the inside. The outside's kind of losing some momentum here, so it looks like most of those cars will try to dive down to the inside and get along with this train or whatever, and then Jacob Nelson and Jonathan Peden are going to probably try to fall back to the back end here. Can only imagine if this is 2 or 3 to go, then it might start rattling. The cars might get packed up here once again. There's some blocking. There's contact.
Yeah, I think there may have been just a bit of contact there. I don't know if Jameson was trying to go inside or what the deal was. But again, Mattiello is your leader right now. Bob Drew the third in second. Marini there in third. I think Jameson is fourth. Janikowski right there in fifth. And again,
here comes Marini up high.
This is an interesting lead pack here, it has to be said. Everybody racing kind of for
almost
different things.
3 wide. They're 3 wide for the lead.
They are 3 wide for the lead. Good Lord. And is that how the stage ended? I think it is.
I think that's how it does end, yes. And by the looks of it, I'm going to see back on the stream here.
I think Mattiello got it.
It was Mattiello. Mattiello got it.
So that is a huge 10 points for the number 14. Again, came into tonight 22 points out of the final playoff picture. Just effectively cut that in half with this first stage. We'll get the official top 10 here, well, right about now. And in the meantime, we will take a quick commercial break to hear from our good friends over at Crack Device Company. And on the other side, we will have stage 2 for you as we try to figure out just what exactly has gone on here. And yes, we will still go to that commercial. Well, no, we'll hold off now that it went to the restart.
Give it some time. They're definitely gonna get in a bit of a single file train here. Hopefully I don't jinx myself.
Yeah, we'll just have to see here now. We've got green flag. We're back underway here for stage number 2. Everything went a little bit quicker than I kind of needed it to, but it looks like everyone's kind of maintained rank here. Mattiello leads them off the line. Marini in second. Jameson, tonight's pole sitter, in third. And that's Higginbotham behind in fourth. And sounds like, again, something might have happened a little bit further down the pack, or maybe not even much further down the pack, as I heard Darcy Ford saying something. And it looks like he's found himself in about 7th or 8th here off of this restart. Yeah, it looks like 7th place there for the 64. Again, Jameson, who we see right now, is in 3rd. And just going to take a peek here. Just got to move over to the other window, and we'll get a sense of what that first stage looked like in terms of points. And again, it's the 14 of Dan Mattiello who took not only the stage win, but of course that comes with a playoff point if he does happen to squeak into the final spot. And Bob Drew, the third, finishes second. Mike Marini in third. Tom Janikowski picking up some important points there in fourth. Ty Higginbotham rounds out the top 5. Leo Jameson in 6th. Jacob Nelson 7th. Jonathan Peden 8th. Darcy Ford in 9th. We didn't really talk much about him over the course of the evening, but finds himself in 9th. Jason Butler rounds out the top 10, so an additional point for the number 10. As we'll go ahead and check in on Mike Nickens here now. He finds himself somewhere in this lead group. Looks like he's around 8th place. As they come down that back straight again. And if I recall correctly, I think the first 2 stages are a little bit longer, and then it's kind of a sprint in the 3rd stage, which is a little bit of a deviation from the typical race structure at Talladega, although I could have that completely wrong as well. But that one seemed a little bit longer. As everyone's just kind of content to stay in line here right now. As hopefully our stream is coming back to life. There it goes. Just kind of dipped off for a second. Just a small little blip on the radar. As we'll check on our race leader, Dan Mattiello. Again, this is a potentially significant development here if the 14 is able to hang on. Obviously, a lot of race still to go. But the fact that he's picked up that stage win already, that's significantly narrowed the gap between himself and the rest of the field, as he's now just 12 points back of that final playoff spot. Kevin Daigle, of course, not picking up anything in this first stage, nor did Andy Hurdle, Brandon Reed, Dan Cudmore, Keith Miller, or Hunter Young, any of the drivers ahead of him who are kind of in that competition. So Dan Mattiello looking to make a move here, and again, what a time if it was to potentially go down tonight. And if there's a place where it's going to happen, Reegs, it sure seems like Talladega is the spot where you can count on maybe the odd surprise or two. Are you still there? Not sure if we
Like
still.
Sam, I don't got much to say.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, just wasn't sure if we'd lost you there or not. So good to check in every once in a while as we check in ourselves now on the 77 of Reggie Kime, door to door with Hunter Young. Those two were
bumping back and forth.
Yeah, and who else is joining in? I think that might be Bailey Burr joining in as well in the 57 toward the back of this train. And Kime, again, I believe started in, I want to say 4th, but clearly a little bit further down the field. Not too much to worry about here for the 77, as he's very much locked in his playoff spot on points. So essentially just kind of keep it clean, get the race complete, and head to the playoffs next week for the 77. That is the order of business here tonight, as we'll go back up toward the head of the field where we'll find the number 9 of Jacob Nelson. And again, he's running up toward the head of the field. I believe he's 5th right now from Clarksville, Tennessee. I could not remember the name of the town for the life of me. Thank God the overlay came up. I knew it had a Ville in it.
Okay, I think they might have been wrecking in the back there from watching the stream.
Yeah, certainly I was hearing a little bit of something from the Discord race control. And yeah, it definitely sounds like something went down in the back. Not 100% sure what's gone on there, but certainly nothing good by the sounds of it. As we check in now, well, that might be the culprit. The 55 of Trent Nielsen kind of driving on his own here right now, having lost the draft. And I mean, you don't want to point fingers, but again, when they're out of the draft, there's only so many places you can look. As we take another look for ourselves toward the head of the field, where Mike Marini is up into 2nd place now. He with the 2 victories over the years, both at Canadian Tire. Has not gotten it done on an oval or a super speedway at this point. 19 laps remaining in this stage.
So yeah, from what I can see from looking back on the stream, it looks like there was for sure one car that went around. It looked like a white car by the looks of it, but maybe my partial color blindness is coming into play here. But yeah, it looks like for sure one car definitely went around. So whoever that was, that's quite unfortunate for them. But other than that, it's still relatively a high number of cars here still in this front pack. So yeah, a couple of cars unfortunately got handed into trouble. As we can see here, Kevin Daigle and Dan Cudmore are kind of keeping it a little bit steady. They're trying to be a little bit more conservative towards the back here. These are 2 guys that are right there at the bubble, especially Cudmore, who from
12 points going into tonight.
Yes, 12, yeah, or 18 points actually. Cudmore is 18 points behind that 16 spot. So yeah, he and Daigle are definitely gonna kind of keep it steady here. Maybe they'll think of a strategy to possibly go and get some stage points towards the end of this stage. Maybe they're just kind of letting the laps ride around their letting the laps ride around and waiting until the end to finally strike.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting scenario, especially, again, if you're Kevin Daigle, the man who is on the bubble right now. Like, obviously, you want to keep it clean, and because, like, Talladega, that's the one place where you don't really want to be off the lead lap by any means. But at the same time, if he's seeing people a little bit further up the field clawing into whatever gap he had, might need to get a little bit more aggressive here toward the end of this stage, and especially stage 3. Again, a guy kind of in the polar opposite situation, which is why he's most likely at the back of this lead pack here, is the 53 of John Peden, who we're watching right now. The Pensacola, Florida native. Again, he's picked up 3 wins this season, and I believe it was 3 last season as well. So certainly a strong run of form here from the 53, and it really started with last year's playoffs. He's arguably been the strongest driver in the field since that kind of 10-race stretch really began. As he's through hurdle. Go ahead.
Through 9 races so far, yeah, he's got 3 wins. He hasn't gotten the pole just yet, but he does have 8 top 5s, 8 top 10s, 0 DNFs, an incredible 7 stage wins, which is like pretty much double over the next guy who has the second most in Mike Nickens with 3. He's got 22 playoff points, his average start again is not the absolute greatest, but his average finish is an outstanding 3.89, which the next best driver is at 5.00, which, yeah, or actually, no, sorry, that'd be a 4.75 by the looks of it from, I believe that's Jacob Nelson, but yeah, this is about Pete, and we were thinking Leo Jameson was actually the guy to look at as the top championship contender in like the first, I would say, like the first half of this regular season, but with these 3 wins and those crazy stats, I'm gonna say right now, Jonathan Peden, in my opinion, is the guy to call the most likely to be the 2022 champion. But again, we're only like nearly halfway through the regular season finale. We still have a whole playoffs to get through. So as long as he just keeps it clean, maybe he gets, I don't know, maybe a decent finish or even a win here tonight. Well, it's not his biggest concern, but I mean, it'd be nice to carry some momentum, especially if he gets lucky with the SuperSpeedway win to come to the playoffs. And I guess maybe a way to put it is destroy the field. I don't know. That's one way to put it, perhaps. Maybe it's a little harsh. And I will also say, maybe a tiny bit off topic, but you might want to keep an eye on the comments section of the stream. Just saying.
Yeah, that I have a funny feeling I know what you're referencing there. So I would imagine that's primarily spam, but I will take a peek as we look at Travis Tyson here on the track. Looks like he's tucked in behind Mike Nickens and just ahead of Jose Mercado right now as they come up on, I believe, 13 laps remaining in this second stage. Or it may even be 12, because I know I heard 14 at one point. Just time may have passed me by there a little bit. As we will go now to Hunter Young, who is another driver who's kind of lost the pack here a little bit. So he may well have gotten caught up in something as well. And we know we certainly saw him door to door with Reggie Kime a little bit earlier. So not sure if anything came from that, but certainly not what the St. Catharines, Ontario native had in mind for this point of the race. As we'll bring it back up to the lead line where we find the 41 of Jose Mercado once again. 12 laps to go, we're being told by race control in this stage. Sometimes you forget just how long the lap is here. As Mercado, again, he's just kind of content to stay tucked in. Of course, he had that win a few weeks back at WWT, so he's securely into the playoff picture. And yeah, things looking pretty smooth here for the 41. He's got the 00 of Christian Worsham tucked in behind. As we'll move along now to the 93 of Tom Janikowski, and he turned in a strong stage 1 finish as well, and just gave himself a little bit more breathing room toward the bottom of the playoff picture. I don't think he had anything to worry about anyway, but certainly never a bad thing for the 93 to pick up a few additional points and bring it back to good old Appleton, Wisconsin. As Janikowski just content to stay on that back bumper of Jacob Nelson here. So that puts him in 6th place right now, with Darcy Ford just on the back as well. And rather interesting here, Reegs, a couple of minutes ago while we were chatting, I heard from the Discord race control that toward the head of the field, there's actually quite a bit of like half throttling going on toward the head of the field. So I don't know if that's just a control measure to try and keep everyone in place or what's going on there, or maybe some conservation in play. But certainly,
I mean, the pit window is likely coming up soon, so maybe it has something to do with that as well, because the more distance between every car, especially with them coming down pit road, like if they're that tight, like we saw in the first stage, everyone was able to come down just fine, which was actually pretty impressive, other than maybe Hunter Young having the most what's the way I could put it, like the like a slingshot of an entrance, but yeah. he was able to keep his car smooth somehow. Maybe it was just kind of a visual visual obscurity or whatever. So yeah, well, that's the window coming up soon. It could literally mean anything that we've seen here in the past couple seconds. So, and there's some cars going down to the apron there a little bit. There's cars backing off.
Sounds like, well, no, I was hearing something about a pit window here, so we may well be getting some action a little bit further down the field. I'm not sure. Well, no, as I say that, a lot of the lead group does come in, or at least a few of them do. Janikowski in, Ford in. Not sure if that was Mattiello coming in or not.
That is Mattiello to confirm.
It is. Yeah, it is the 14. Marini in there as well. And again, I'm not sure if Mattiello was pitting from the lead. We know certainly he was leading to begin stage 2. We've just kind of hopped around the field ever since, as we see Keith Miller. I think that might have been a disconnect, as we see few drivers coming out. Darcy Ford among them, just exiting pit lane. Ty Higginbotham headed in this lap as well. And now we'll get our first full look at Jason Butler, he who's been rather acquainted with the kind of bright blue / teal and pink, kind of the Miami Vice schemes over the years, and showcasing yet another one here this evening. And Butler grabbed himself 10th place in the opening stage here tonight. Not quite the season that the number 10 has wanted here. Obviously, he's had a couple of disconnections over the course of the year as well. He's been rather snake bit when it's come to the playoff picture, to be honest. He was 17th each of the last 2 seasons going into the playoff picture. So, again, if he didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all, unfortunately, for Jason Butler. And it looks like the trend may be continuing here this year. As we will go now to the number 7 of Andy Hurdle. He was just outside the playoff picture whenever things began tonight, just 4 points back of Kevin Daigle whenever the night started. Neither he or Daigle picked up stage points in the opener tonight. And Hurdle, again, I'm not 100% sure where his positioning is right now. And I think that might be Jonathan War ahead of him. Looks like the typical 29 paint scheme. Yeah, I think I can go ahead and confirm that, as those two ride together. War in the playoff picture here. So basically for the number 29, just kind of keep it clean as much as anything else. As we'll go, I think we're back to our lead pack now with Ty Higginbotham, as he runs in, I think it's 4th place. I would have to imagine this would be the lead pack here. It certainly looks like what the lead pack would have been when they came into pit lane. So if that's the case, that puts Leo Jameson back up at the head of the field. Of course, he was tonight's pole sitter. So it's 5 laps to go. We just got that from race control as I was about to speak. So good timing on that. So it's Jameson leading, Nelson 2nd, Marini 3rd, Higginbotham, as you can see, 4th. Darcy Ford rounds out the top 5. Dan Mattiello, stage 1 winners in 6th. I think that's Travis Tyson there in 7th, with John Peden bringing up the rear of that lead pack. Or no, Mike Nickens is in there as well. So there's 9 in that lead pack. Nickens 8th, Peden in 9th. So again, after the pit stops, a little bit more separation here, Riggs. And what do you think the approach is for these final 4 laps, depending on the driver?
I mean, stage 1, we saw there was maybe this one lap where all of a sudden they became double file, then there was this lap where they'd be in a train, then there's another lap where just mayhem was just happening. We saw in the final lap there are a lot of cars, especially going through the tri-oval to the green and white checker flag there. They pretty much got 3 wide there towards the line, and Dan Mattiello was the one to prevail, and right now Mattiello is holding steady in 6th place. So again, with the way stage one went, in those final laps, like anything could happen here. We might have to be a little bit patient too, because we do have less cars than in comparison to what we had in the first stage. Like you said earlier, there's a bit of separation here. There's only like 2 cars you can really see towards in the background. So again, anything could happen. It's now 4 laps remaining. It's gonna have, if anything happens, it'll be like out of complete nowhere.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you've got that right. As again, it looks like this lead pack in 9 kind of content to stay single file right now. And again, the guy who stands to benefit from this the most is that number 14 of Dan Mattiello right now, as he'd be in line to pick up another 5 points as we come up on 2 laps remaining in this second stage. And again, picking up another 5 points. I'm not sure if Daigle's running in 10th or not. But if he hasn't, that cuts the gap to 7 points. And just to, Leo Jameson's still leading here, as you see this lead pack coming up on the back straight. It looks like they're about to put Trent Nielsen a lap down. Let's try and go ahead and actually bring it to Leo Jameson's perspective here. There we go. So we're actually running on board with the leader right now, number 94, as you can see him. And again, that train of 9 pretty well sticking together here as they're onto the final lap of the stage. Again, Jameson continuing to lead. Nelson with an eye potentially toward trying to pick up the stage win here. Maybe having a little.
Looks like a couple cars.
No, go ahead.
Like a couple cars there are looks like a couple cars there are starting to back off, especially Marini. I was seeing maybe there'll be something that happens here. Nelson looks like he was trying to look up high, maybe looking low. They're going back and forth. They're trying to make up a line. They're trying, but it's not working perfectly. They're still single file here. We might have to see if they come into the trial oval and possibly make some moves. There's a bit of blocking there. Marini trying to get up high for 2nd place, but it looks like they're going to remain single file as they come to the flag, and Leo Jameson is going to win the 2nd stage.
Yeah, that was Peden kind of emphatically spinning across the line, so we can safely say he finished 9th in the stage. Leo Jameson, your stage winner, as we bring it back to the end of the stage. So, Jameson, your stage winner. We'll get the rest of the results here momentarily. As you say, there were a couple of moves trying to be made. As we sort those out, now we'll take that commercial break I promised, and we'll be back in a few seconds for the beginning of stage 3. As we bring it back live here, stage number 3 is underway. And again, Leo Jameson leads them off the line. Nelson there in 2nd, Marini 3rd. As that was how the top 3 wound up going down here in the 2nd stage. As we'll go over the results here super quick. As again, it was Leo Jameson who picked up the stage win. Jacob Nelson 2nd. Mike Marini in 3rd. Ty Higginbotham 4th. Darcy Ford rounds out the top 5. Again, the developing story here tonight. Dan Mattiello in 6th. So that's another 5 points for him after winning stage 1. Travis Tyson finished 7th. Then you've got Jonathan Peden in 8th. Jose Mercado 9th. And Mike Nickens rounds out the top 10. So, Riggs, things getting very interesting here. Suddenly, a little bit less wiggle room here if you're the man whose overlays on the screen, the 85 of Kevin Daigle. Mattiello's charging. He's just 7 points back on a live bubble tracker. So, stage 3, I think things are going to get rather hairy here.
All about that. While we were just getting back there for the green flag for this third and final stage, there were about 2 or 3 cars in the back that I saw coming off turn 2 that have fully spun around. So whoever those 2 or 3 cars are, that's quite unfortunate, especially with it's literally just the beginning of this final stage. So if it was drivers that were right there on the bubble, then that is just purely terrible luck.
It is. Again, I don't have a 100% window on that, but again, I can tell you that as you see, Jameson continues to lead this one. Let's bring it from Dan Mattiello's perspective because he's kind of the man to watch right now. As it looks like he's running around 9th or 10th place. Just trying to eyeball it here on the live stream. A couple spots behind Darcy Ford. Tucked in behind Bob Drew III. So that looks like he's about, I'm going to call that 8th place here right now. And again, if that holds and Daigle finishes 16th or worse, then Dan Mattiello, he has himself a shot at a playoff spot. Perhaps unthinkable going into tonight, 22 points back. But there's, again, Riggs, something about Talladega that just brings out the weird.
For sure. For sure. I mean, yeah, again, the regular season finales at Talladega, we got to keep this. We just keep repeating those exact same words, literally every now and then. That's the way to put it.
No, that's one of those things about Talladega. It can leave you speechless too. As last year, it was our round of 12 finale, if I recall, and it was Jose Mercado finally snapping a bit of a drought that he'd built up in picking up the win, and that ultimately advanced him into the round of 8, I believe, at the expense of Corbin McCauley, if I recall. So things can happen here to kind of upset balances.
Well, the thing is, too, it's kind of ironic, too, because Jose Mercado did go through a bit of a drought early in this regular season here, as it looks like there were some cars that made contact towards the back of the pack there coming off of turn 4, but they were able to keep it straight. Once again, going back to Jose Mercado, yeah, a bit of a drought. He was looking good in some stages, plus he had some good qualifying results, but the win was just never there. But eventually he was able to get it done at Gateway, I believe it was, and yeah, he's won a race. He can still go in the playoffs and figure something out, and it looks like there's possibly a battle for the lead here, as it looks like Mike Marini's going to go low on Jameson. There was a little bit of a wiggling back and forth there, and Jameson tries to block down, drive down to the inside there to get back in that train line. And now the leader of the race is Mike Marini, and yeah, that was Jacob Nelson that had to be careful there and letting Jane. If the way to put it is letting Jameson into the line or whatever that was, then who?
Yeah, and as you were talking there, like as you mentioned, things definitely getting a little bit hairy up at the head of the field. I could hear it out of Darcy Ford, certainly there in 5th. Certainly getting quite stressful toward the head of the field, despite them going in single file. That might almost actually amplify it a little bit. But yeah, definitely the knuckles getting a little whiter, that little grip on the wheel getting a little bit tighter here in stage 3, and I promise I did not intentionally rhyme that.
Dr. Seuss.
Not quite, as we see someone go through
there's a car in the grass. They saved it.
Somehow, yeah, there was a save there. Not 100% sure what was going on as we check in now on, we'll briefly check in on Trent Nielsen here toward the back of this line.
From what I can tell, that was a white car, so to be kind of fair, it could have been literally any one of them. But if I had to speculate, it might have been either it might have been Cudmore or Peden, or maybe one of those white cars in front there. But I know that someone went to the grass for like a second or two and then came right back up. And I thought they were gonna cause a whole chain reaction right there, but no, they were able to come up cleanly, and it's like as if nothing happened there. So a good job to
Yeah,
whoever was able to keep their car straight and literally go right back into that same line without any trouble.
yeah. I mean, we saw the big puff of dirt there in the background there as well. So no hiding that. Just as there's no hiding the fact that Mike Marini has found himself in the lead here again. He's had his 2 wins over the last couple of years, again, both at Canadian Tire. You know, he'd love to get one on one of these speedways here just to show that he is definitely capable of doing it. It just hasn't happened for him to this point. And Marini leads them over the line.
And based on some opinions, I guess, from other drivers or just what I've observed from past races, Mike Marini is quite the aggressive driver, but at the same time, though, in saying that, I don't have anything against him about that, because obviously you're going to have those drivers that are going to want to, drive hard against others. They're not going to want to give them any inch whatsoever, and especially here at Talladega, like, it's kind of giving me those Dale Earnhardt vibes in a sense. Maybe not exactly like him. I mean, no one can be exactly like the Intimidator himself, but yeah, Mike Marini definitely, especially when that situation came along where Jameson and Jacob Nelson were getting a little feisty on the backstretch. Yeah, Marini was definitely trying like that. It's like that Intimidator button that you press on one of the old NASCAR video games from like the late 2000s or the early 2010s. So yeah, it's I had to bring that reference here at some point. I absolutely love the back in those times, with those games, when you could do that. It's funny as heck, and it's just it's a terrific reference, and it's good timing as well, because it's Talladega, Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, it's a match in heaven.
Absolutely, it is. But certainly a guy going in the opposite direction right now. He'd love to be going up the field a little bit, is the 85 of Kevin Daigle. Again, the man who came into tonight on the playoff bubble, had the 4-point lead on Andy Hurdle. You see Hurdle behind him by a couple of spots, but again, Andy Hurdle isn't the biggest concern right now for Kevin Daigle. That'll be the man in 7th place, I believe, still, or at least was 7th at last check. The number 14 of Dan Mattiello, and Daigle, he's not close enough to cover him off right now. So again, we've got some potentially interesting developments as we go along here. We'll continue our way through the field. Well, we'll just go up a couple of spots by the looks of it to find John Peden, as he tucks in behind Trent Nielsen. Go ahead.
So were you saying there that Dan Mattiello, does he still have to win this race, or would he have enough points?
He could get in on points.
Okay, that is.
Yeah,
he was negative. He was negative 22 heading into this race, so those points he's been getting are extremely valuable, and it would be an absolutely unbelievable resurgence for him.
It would, and then remember, he won stage 1 as well, so that grabs him an additional playoff point. So,
oh yeah, that's definitely going to help him as well. So
that little edge, yeah. So the wheels, for lack of a better word, are turning here as we check in on Travis Tyson now. He's securely into the playoff picture as the Kingsport, Tennessee native, as he's got Mattiello tucked in behind him. And Tyson running in 6th place here right now. And Tyson, he'd gotten off to a pretty decent start at Daytona. Again, he's comfortably into the playoff picture right now, but I know maybe there was just a slightly higher expectation perhaps, but still, you got to be in it to win it, essentially, and Tyson has found his way in it, as I thought he was trying to make a move there on Darcy Ford. And yes, still running in 6th. As we'll check in now on, well, I thought we were going to check in on Hunter Young, but the blank track would suggest a disconnection for the 20. So we'll bring it back to track level, where we go to Jose Mercado. I think Daigle was running a little bit high. I think he might be getting the sense that things might be starting to slip away a little bit. Is there contact in the back? Man, it looks like
by the looks of it, there were cars getting loose back there from what I can see on the stream, but they're able to keep it going.
Yeah, and as I say, I think the 85 of Kevin Daigle was among that group. And again, I think this might be where that sense of urgency is starting to come in, but I wonder if maybe it's just happening a little bit too late, as Mercado is about the middle of that pack. He's got Dan Cudmore tucked in behind him. We haven't really talked much about the series founder here tonight. He came in very much in that playoff bubble discussion as well. He was 18 out, if I recall. I think I had that wrong, and you corrected me earlier. But
so we're gonna get fired now because we haven't talked about him a lot.
Hey, I'm not in the province anymore, so I think I might actually be a loose end. So I may have to
ouch.
I may have to speak a little bit kinder there of the two. Of course, there were a couple of weeks where we didn't necessarily speak of him because, of course, he was away. Just as Tom Janikowski is away from the rest of the field here right now. I'm not sure if that was a pit stop or if he got caught up in something. But again, not a whole lot of worry there for the 93. Effectively, he was kind of unofficially safe in the playoff picture, certainly helped by, some stage points in the opening stage tonight. So he should find himself comfortably in the playoff picture, along with the number 6 of Bob Drew III, who we're watching right now, the Miamisburg, Ohio native. And again, he's tucked in behind Nielsen right now. It looks like it's, again, just kind of a giant pack here, essentially. And yeah, not really seeing the separation that we've seen over maybe the course of the first couple stages. Of course, pit stops kind of influenced that as well, correct?
Yes, sir, for sure. Now, the thing is, though, we've seen we've seen most of these pit entrances with these drivers be fairly passive and actually work out every time. Like, we haven't seen any spins, any incidents, or whatever. But the thing is, though, to consider as well, these guys, like, there's been separate packs that have. There's been separation in the first 2 stages, but now with this 3rd stage, we have basically 90% of the field together. So if it comes to a point where they end up getting back together, then there's the case where it's coming when that window begins, and some of them might come in one lap, some might come in the other lap, maybe a lot of them come in on one lap. It also comes down to that point where when the window ends, will they all get back into the same structure that they're currently in right now? And if that's the case, then I fear for the safety of a lot of drivers.
Yeah, and speaking of pit windows, we are just on the cusp of the final one right now. Coming to the start-finish line, it'll be 13 laps remaining in tonight's race as we watch it from Darcy Ford's perspective here. Ford in 5th place right now. And getting word that next time around, at minimum, the 97 of Ty Higginbotham will most likely be coming in. Higgy running in 4th, as you see on your screen. And I would not be surprised if Ford follows him down. And there you see the little dip below the line. That is the tell for the rest of the field as to who's coming in. So we're going to get some action here on pit lane.
Oh boy.
And
that's all that needs to be said.
Yeah, this is where it can be won or lost. And yeah, you see a significant dip. Looks like a majority of that lead pack came in. Oh, some contact there again. I'm not sure if that's game or just driver, error. We'll call
that is definitely. That is definitely game, but at the same time, though, that's a lot of cars coming in together, so... there's still contact. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, we just saw Darcy Ford pull a Nigel Mansell there going backwards in pit lane. As meanwhile, I think Jason Butler might be one of the few cars actually on track right now. As, yeah, he's alone on the back straight. Yeah, it looks like
Jason Butler's just suddenly stolen the win.
I mean, again, we've seen some strange things happen, and again, if it's going to happen, it's going to be at Talladega. Like, with the absence of that second Daytona race, like you were talking about earlier, this is the next most likely spot. As we will try to get a sense of who's come out where. Looks like Ford's gotten out ahead of Higginbotham here on the pit stops. Nickens with a bit of damage to his front end. Looks like Jameson's come out in the lead here still. And yeah, again, the man we're watching right now, Dan Mattiello, he's at the back of that lead pack. So I think that puts him around 9th. Oh, that looks like...
Okay, they're getting feisty.
Oh, I think they're coming up on
really
feisty, though. Yikes.
If they don't wreck here, that's...
contact! Mattiello! Higginbotham into the wall.
There it is. There they go. There's the big one.
They all came up on, I think, the 41. Like, Mercado wasn't quite up to speed yet. Like, I don't think there's any fault necessarily. It's just kind of an unfortunate circumstance of where they were on the track. I think that's all it looked like from my perspective. I didn't see anything, like, inherently wrong there.
Mercado and Higginbotham both absolutely slammed the inside wall. And from what I see here, whenever I replay the stream, like, Mercado definitely was slow, and it looks like he did try to keep himself there on the inside line, and then it just all kind of went to basically crap. And by the looks of it as well, too, Dan Mattiello may have had something to do with it, because Mercado, by the looks of it, did hold his line there on the inside, and then Dan Mattiello went right into him on that same lane, right into the back of him, and then it just started this whole chain reaction. But again, though, like, this game can give us some serious weird visuals, so we don't know what exactly what may have happened, but all we know is that a bunch of cars have definitely just gotten screwed over here, and if there are any of them that were on the playoff bubble, then ouch.
Yeah, getting word that certainly we saw Higginbotham get collected. We're getting word that he does, in fact, have to pit again as a result. So that's his race effectively compromised. And now it's effectively a 5-man shootout for the win here between Jameson, who's at the head of the field, Jacob Nelson there in second, Mike Nickens third, Darcy Ford in fourth, and Dan Mattiello rounding out the top 5. So this is effectively the quintet that's going to be battling for the win in these last 9 to 10 laps. And yeah, I mean, I know we've definitely tried to speculate on it or made some speculations. Definitely a decidedly different tone from Race Control. I think they may have seen something a little bit different from what we did. Obviously, they've got the kind of in-person perspective, but
it would not surprise me at all if there was some potential things that go on behind the scenes after this race. So yeah. Now I'm seeing here with this 5-car, if it's kind of a 5-car shootout, we can see here the one guy that, like, now we need to keep an eye on the most is obviously that Dan Mattiello it seemed like he was a bit involved in what happened in that wreck involving Mercado and Higginbotham, but he actually he was able to stay with these lead cars and is now in 5th place. So this might right here be us seeing Dan Mattiello has possibly made the playoffs here, although the thing is, too, he might still need to win. It's really hard to say it's really hard to say anything right now, to be
Yeah.
kind of honest, because there's still a couple laps to go here, and the points are going to be quite shaken up. But from what I can assume, Dan Mattiello might just have a playoff spot here again. Just
So, yeah, with the
I can't really say anything right now. I'm just speechless. That's all.
yeah, again, a lot of stuff has happened here over the last few minutes. And like I see Janikowski now in this group as well, but I think this is a
He was a lap car.
lapped. And yeah, again, not 100% sure. Like I'm hearing things a little bit more relaxed now than maybe they were, as it looks like that quintet may have dropped to a quartet here, as it looks like Mattiello is kind of getting left behind by this lead group of 4.
Yeah, but you can see though Tom Janikowski does appear he's trying to actually help Mattiello possibly get back, or maybe not. They're actually going side by side now. I was wondering if Janikowski might have been actually trying to help Mattiello out and getting up to the front and possibly fight for the win. I don't know. Maybe they might try and fix it back up again here. That might be. Mattiello might have just gotten screwed out of the win potentially here. Who knows?
But even then, like 5th place, like Kevin Daigle, he'd have to be 12th or better to head off Mattiello, and it looked like he was kind of toward the back of the field for the majority of the evening. I'm not quite sure how things have shuffled out since, but again, it looks like we've got a lead group of 4 here, and they're coming up on 4 laps to go at the line. It's Leo Jamieson again. He started the night on pole. Like, there's so much going on that we haven't really talked much about the 94, but really, if he holds on, this would be win number 3 on the season for him, and he'd be riding into the playoffs on a high.
Well, yeah, just like he'd be right there with Jonathan Peden being tied there for the most wins on the season by a driver. So yeah, Jameson and Peden, they are the top 2 championship contenders. You got a newcomer, you got a veteran who will come out in the end. Will only have that'll be probably a better discussion to have when it comes playoff time.
It may well be, as it looks like our leaders have gotten past Jason Butler here, coming out of turn 4 onto the main straight. 3 laps remaining. Jameson remains your leader. Jonathan Warr is also there as lap traffic, but it looks like, again, our lead pack of 4 has navigated that safely. And so, again, it's Leo Jamieson still in the lead. Jacob Nelson there in 2nd. Mike Nickens 3rd. Darcy Ford is 4th. And so, Reegs, it'll be 2 laps remaining at the line. When, if you're one of those guys who's not in the lead, when do you start thinking about trying to make the move and just essentially hanging on?
Well, they're definitely. I can only imagine any of them are thinking about it right now, probably. But to actually do the move itself, I would probably think, especially considering it's only like a 4-car pack, well, maybe a 5 if Jose Mercado decides to help someone out. I would say maybe the final lap is probably just your best shot, just so you can say, or maybe not. Jacob Nelson has apparently decided to do it early, and now we're getting some double file here, although Nelson might fall back. The other thing is, too, besides Jameson, this is 3 other drivers that still haven't won a race yet this year, in Nickens and Ford and Nelson. Yes, exactly. So could we just get another good old regular winner in the newcomer, or do we suddenly have someone else come in and finally get that first win of the season, or even first career win for Mike Nickens even?
Well, we're going to find out in about 45 seconds as they're seeing the white flag this time around. Final lap of tonight's Crack Device Company 250. Leo Jamieson holding on. Nickens in 2nd. Darcy Ford in 3rd. Jacob Nelson's dropped down into 4th. As they come out of turn 2, things looking pretty clean. Nobody making a move. Well, Ford might be looking on the inside here, but he tucks back in behind Nickens. And Jamieson, he's holding them off. It looks like he's got a little bit of a gap, actually, between himself and...
Yeah, they're pulling back. They're probably going to go for it now. Here they come.
You got to go for it here, but I don't know if they have enough runway here. Maybe Nelson's giving Nickens a bit of a push. but I don't think they're close enough to Jameson here. It's going to be a showdown right at the end.
Yeah, they screwed themselves over.
Indeed, and it's going to be the number 94 of Leo Jameson picking up his third win of the season as he takes the regular season finale here, the Crack Device Company 250. And yeah, it turned into a very interesting finish in the last 10 laps or so. But I think, again, Jameson was in kind of the catbird seat there at the head of the field. And I don't want to say it's an understated victory, but the 94, he got the job done when he needed to.
Well, yes, and I have a feeling they're going to